for God movement. I pray that everything is going well with you in this season. I pray that you are healthy, and I pray that you are safe in this season. Listen, I just wanted to quickly share this word, something that God dropped in my spirit this morning. I was reading the story of Moses and the children of Israel as they came through the wilderness and they were getting ready to enter into the promised land. They were doing a lot of murmuring and a lot of complaining, and God, he never deals well with murmuring and complaining. That was the first thing that God was dealing with me on. There's no murmuring and there's no complaining when you're in process. When you're in process, there's no murmuring and there's no complaining. And the second thing was that they got to the promised land and they asked, can we send spies into the promised land to see the land? That's what it says in Exodus. And I think in Numbers, it says that God told them to go and spy the land. So God answered them when they asked that. And so they go into the land, and we know the story, right? They go in there, they see all this abundance, this crazy prosperity, oversized fruits and vegetables, things that they had never seen before. They saw there, but they also saw giants in the land. And when they came back with an evil report. 10 of them came back with an evil report, and then 2 of them, Joshua and Caleb, came back with a positive report. And what the Lord was just dealing with me on is that in this season of quarantine, in this season where we're sitting, we have a tendency to waste that time and use that time on social media. This is a season whereby somebody is comparing themselves to others. We're comparing ourselves to others. And the devil wants to use this time to cause you to doubt God and even create bitterness in your heart for the season and predicament that you're in right now. And it's time for you to stop spying. Don't go spying the enemy territory. Don't go spying the enemy territory. Be content where you are and put your focus on God. Because if you go spying in the enemy territory, the devil is going to use that as a foothold to put doubt in your heart of what God said that he was going to do in your life. This is not the time for you to be comparing yourselves to others, but it's the time for you to be focusing on the promises of God. When they came out of that land, they were intimidated by the people who possessed the land. And whatever promises it is that God has for us, they're always going to be surrounded by enemies. How many of you know that whatever promise it is that God has for us, there's going to be intimidating people and people that are circled around that promise. In fact, some of the seats that you're destined to sit in, the person, if you knew that seat that you were destined to sit in and you saw the person, or you knew the person who was sitting in that seat, you would begin to immediately doubt the promises of God and the direction that God is taking you in. And this is why it's important not to be spying and not to be comparing yourself, so that you don't allow yourself to talk yourself out of the blessing that God has for you. Because God was getting ready to bring Israel into that land, where however unqualified, however illegitimate, however people felt, it didn't matter, because they weren't going to have to fight against those enemies. God was going to fight for them. God was going to move them out of the way. And what happens is, when we begin to spy on others and compare ourselves to others, we begin to try to do things in our own might. We begin to think about it from the mindset of what I can do, what I'm capable of. But it was never about you. It will never be through your power. It'll never be through your might. It'll be by God's Spirit. And that's what the children of Israel needed to know, that they weren't going to have to stand and fight them. God was going to go before them and fight the battle. And so the lack of faith that they had caused them to miss out on the promised land and the blessing that God had for them. So in this time, don't allow yourself to sit there and compare yourselves to others, but instead take this time to seek God, because the thing is, the blessings of God are amazing. The things that God has for you are amazing. When the children of Israel went into the promised land, they saw that it was truly what God had promised their father Abraham, a land that flowed with milk and honey. Abundance was there. There was things they had never seen before, things that were phenomenal. And if we knew what God had for us on the other side of trusting him, on the other side of believing his promises, on the other side of taking the path through the wilderness and going through it with God without murmuring and complaining, if we only knew what was on the other side, exceedingly and abundantly is on the other side. Things that are beyond what we could ever ask or think are on the other side. So in this in between, in this passage here, right on through here, in this journey right on through here, where it may look a little dry. It may look a little scary. It might make you feel a little bit full of doubt. It might make you feel a little bit of fear. I want you to know that if you can keep yourself from murmuring and complaining, if you can keep yourself from comparing yourselves to others, if you can keep yourself, your eyes stayed on the Lord, if you can build yourself up in your most holy faith, if you can take this time and get closer to God, that is going to bring you closer to your promises. I can promise you that. I just wanted to get on here and share that word with whoever it's for. If it's for you, hey, keep your head up, because God is getting ready to do something fantastic in your life. I love you. God bless you. And remember, don't be ashamed to be noisy for God.